Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, back from Baltimore, Maryland at the Netroots Convention 2024. And here is the t-shirt. We had a ball. We got a lot done. A lot of people don't really want it. People are concerned about talking a lot. I wanted to I got 44 interviews done. One in Spanish, 43 in English. 44 Actually, I think technically speaking, it's about 46, but I got to go ahead and check my records to see what I really get as far as the amount of interviews that I got. Now, anyhow, and it's a lot of processing to do, and I want to get them done rather quickly because these are interviews that are that has some value to today's politics, to today's stuff. So I want to get them out. Anyway, before I get started, want to go ahead and tell everybody welcome aboard and thank you guys for sticking around while I did the programs directly from Baltimore. It was great. The people there loved that. They stood up and watched as I did the show. It was kind of cool. Anyway, welcome aboard, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. We also have Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York. We also have British MCP from Binghamton, New York, upstate New York, that is. We have Eric Hayes calling in or chiming in from Kingwood, Atascocita. We have Bruce Pollard from Kingwood. We also have in the house Mike Cisak in the house as well. Lee Grant from who again? Lee Grant from the good old place in Montgomery County. Let's see who else I've got in the house so far. That's the only name that folk in the thing so far. Let's see what else we got here. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. No, Bruce. Vance is a very smart dude. Vance is a guy that decided he would become willfully ignorant and join the MAGA domain. I repeat, J.D. Vance. He wrote the Hilly Billy book a long time ago. He also he hated Donald Trump. He actually has quite a bunch of bad stuff to say about Donald Trump. He despises Donald Trump. But you know what happens? The weak fall in line, and that's what they did. They fell in line. So now he becomes, and it paid off. His great defense of Donald Trump has paid off for him in that now he becomes the VP pick. But of course, I don't know if that's going to do him much good because he is going to come at the cusp of the end of the Trump era because Trump will lose in a landslide in November. I know people continuously thinking that I don't know what I'm talking about. I know. All right, this is Politics Done Right. Is this a call for Politics Done Right or is this some other call? All right, I don't hear it. All right. So anyhow, folks, Michael Rodriguez said, Egberto, you don't know the Republican game. They're vicious to each other during the primaries, but as soon as they pick a label, they all rally around him. Yes, they do. And that is what a lot of Democrats are complaining, that we don't rally around Biden, even as he has some issues with age. I am still dubious about that. My thing with Biden isn't about me not being able to rally around him. My thing about it is, do we have the discipline for others to rally around him? And I don't know that that's there. But anyway, let me start with what you guys are talking about. We had Reuters, as Israeli airstrikes kill at least 91 Palestinians in designated humanitarian zone in Gaza on Saturday, and over 300 were injured, the deadliest toll in weeks in the conflict shattered enclave in an attack that Israel said targeted Hamas military chief Mohammed Deif. It was unclear whether Dave was killed. An Israeli military official told reporters, "We're still checking and verifying the results of the strike." Displaced people sheltered in the area said their tents were torn down by the force of the strike, describing body and body parts strewn on the ground. Again, remember the Israeli, Netanyahu and his cabal. They don't consider Palestinians human, so they don't mind dropping 2,000-pound bombs and killing everybody just to get one person. But then again, the United States did that in Panama just to get Manuel Antonio Noriega. They bombed the holy crap out of Panama. So, we don't have the moral authority to tell Netanyahu and the IDF that they're immoral, genocidal SOBs because America did the same in Panama. Okay? And they've done the same way whenever they want to go get something. So, no comment there. Anyway, Michael Radden also says, Dafuk is the IDF doing. If you have to brutalize 400 civilians in order to kill one terrorist, you're the terrorist. This news got completely overshadowed by a crazy Republican shooting Trump's ear off, as if stochastic terrorism would never have blowback. I'm sure the right-wing bubble is having a field day right now, churning conspiracy theories without waiting for the evidence on the FBI report. Here's a fact. Brother, the guy who tried to kill Donald Trump, but actually killed an innocent fireman. My father was a fireman. I feel it to the core. He killed an innocent man in the stands. But again, it was a Republican, a registered Republican 20-year-old with an AR-15. You can't get more Republican than that. You can't, well, I shouldn't say Republican. You can't get more MAGA than that. You can't get more right wing than that. A 20-year-old with an AR-15. Give me my gun. Give me my gun. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they do? That is not incivil. That is just repeating a fact. If I hear somebody, 20-year-old in that county, they're likely a Republican, and yes, he's a registered Republican. People say, oh, he gave to that Democratic group. Let me tell you about that Democratic group. That Democratic group that he gave to is a sham. And they have all kind of misleading mails that they get money from just about anybody. All right, continuing. Eric Hayes says the Biden administration rejected a request from Houston's power utility for last year for $100 million to strengthen its electric pole and wires against the type of hurricane winds and flooding knocked utility documents. Centerpoint Energy sought the money from new $10.5 billion energy program, and local agencies protect the electric grid from growing streams. Okay, let's take that up with Eric because I love that. Eric, you want to allow the Centerpoint to suck on the tit of the government, we the people. You want us to give Centerpoint $100 million to strengthen those polls when they're given tens of millions of dollars to their CEO in bonuses, when they're given tens of millions of dollars to their shareholders, when they gave their CEO $30 million. And you want us, the taxpayer, to subsidize the electric company with welfare? You want us to give a rich company welfare to fix something that in a free or rather in a capitalist society say that they should do? What kind of a capitalist are you? You're not a capitalist. You're a socialist. Come on, man. Paul Fleming says, good afternoon. I'm going to start off with this. Really counted disgusted with the national news. And although I don't want anymore to be killed, the picture of both sides wanting to kill one another can always talk to one another. Syed Bean spewing hate and talking about their opponents is a man whose life was almost snuffed out, and emphasize that he was shot by young men who voted Republican. I no need to be turned down, but it's not a Democratic issue. It's a Republican issue because anytime you have a guy running governor of North Carolina saying out loud in public that someone needs to be killed, then your party has a problem. Exactly. The North Carolina governor, the crook, is the one saying some people need to be killed. Those words aren't coming from Democrats. Those words aren't coming from progressives. They're coming from right where you think they would. Right wing Republican leadership, and with that permeated right down. And Sturgeon Bergen King, this is live. Yes, it is live. I'm back from Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. And by the way, I did it live in Baltimore, Maryland because I always try to keep my people happy and informed. Paul Fleming also says, how about Trump picks a never Trumper to be his vice president? This show you how sane these people are. No, he's not. Now look, JD Vance is full MAGA. Go read up on JD Vance. JD Vance is not a never Trumper. JD Vance is full MAGA, and he has been full MAGA for quite a while now. All right. Michael Dance says, cool. We're dealing with a guy with zero true fact checks. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what we expect, though. Mike Cisak says Paul Fleming, the guy was a Democrat who switched September 22nd to disrupt the GOP primary. After that, he donated to Act Blue, a Democratic donation site. No, he voted based on a report from Act Blue. He was a Republican. You can't take it. He was a Republican and he had an AR-15, Mike Cisak. Those guys are criminals. They are criminals, Mike Cisak. You can't take it. Oh my God, we have to try to pin it on the progressives. We have to try to pin it on the liberals. The guy is from from a town that votes 70% Republican. The guy is a registered Republican. The guy is a guy whose father bought an AR-15. You don't see that kind of stuff in Democratic households. We are not that kind of way. We believe in life. We believe in life. So I'm sorry, CSAC. Your goose has been, all happened is your chickens have come home to roost. Your chicken has come home to roost. Eric Hayes said Representative Jasmine Crockett bailed to revoke Trump's Secret Service faces call for resignation. That's a joke. Michael Ranes says, Egberto, you don't know. Yeah, I read that one. Eric Hayes says, was Mr. B unifying people with the address to trying to absolve himself? He was trying to absolve himself from what? From what? From what? Nobody has said anything against Donald Trump. The truth of the matter is that's why I wrote what I wrote, and that's why I'm going to play my next video in a minute. Just let me go through here. I'm scrolling down. Persuasive Barrier, how you doing, my friend? Trump 2024, he could be America's Hitler, JD Vance. That's what he said. Cowardice asked the question, is it safe? Expediency asked the question, is it politic? Vanity asked the question, is it popular? But conscience asked the question, is it right? And there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but one must take it because one's conscience tells us it's right. That sounds beautiful, E2247. Michael Reza Egberto, one who was killed was no innocent. Have you seen the other victims' Twitter? Corey Comper, alt-right always have victim mentality while joking about oppressing others for their death. Look, I don't care what his Twitter said. He didn't deserve a bullet in his head. That's not who we are, Michael, and I know that's not what you meant. But I know you're just taking exception to me saying he was an innocent guy. So for all practical purpose, if he doesn't have a record, etc., he was an innocent guy. If he hadn't murdered, killed anybody, he has a right to whatever crazy ideology he wants. Mike Cisak says, Paul Fleming, you mean people actually quoting the Declaration of Independence are crazy people? No. But when you're quoting it for the wrong reasons, you are. All right. There's no conspiracy. The fact of the matter is it's way too easy to access firearms in the United States, and no one is safe. No kids, no teachers, no parents, not even a former president. Exactly. Thank you, Paul Fleming. You're absolutely right. Let's see. Should we not be talking about the assassination attempt? I really don't care about the assassination attempt at this point, right? Because I know how it's going to be used in the Republican convention. Lee Grant says the shooter might have been inspired by leftist rhetoric, which told Trump was an existential threat. He took the logical next step. Trump is an existential threat. That's not a question. That's a statement of fact. And again, the guy who did it, we don't know why he did it, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, he's a Republican, and number two, he had an AR-15 following the mantra of the ideology. It's that simple, my dear brother Lee Grant. Persuasive Barry says Mark Robinson was calling for unity days after calling for murdering the opposition. I know, it's amazing. These guys can change on a whim. Democrats don't seem to know how to do that, right? All right. Carl Cox says Mike Cisak is no, I won't repeat that. All right. Let's see. Maywood, you aren't a convicted felon until the judge enters a judgment. But since that is put off, no, Trump is a felon. Let's get it right. No one needs to be shot, like no matter what side you're on. Exactly right, Breach. Uh, uh, and Michael Rowan said, Egberto, you have it correct. There's a difference between he was an innocent and he deserved to die. And that distinction is important. Thank you, my brother. Steigen Birkenden says, did Egberto just say the guy who killed an innocent man and almost Trump didn't deserve a bullet to the head? Is he joking? No. I said the person who deserved the bullet to the head was the fireman who that killer killed. But as far as the guy who was shooting, no, he deserved to be taken out because he was taking out people. So no, you did hear wrong, my dear Steigen Bergen Creek. I hope I corrected that for you. Bree says Cannon dismissed Trump's case because Jack Smith wasn't authorized to have a physician. Hunter Biden counsel and several others were all special counsel. Off to the circuit judge now. It's all a joke, Vrij, you know. It's all a joke. But anyway, I got a fairly long video. It's a piece from this morning that I wanted everybody to listen to, and then we'll come right back. So here we go. I should not have to say this, but in our hypocritical society and more righteous indignation than righteousness and morality, I must talk about this. No politician or anyone should fear for their life because of the possibility of being gunned down or assassinated. Most of the time, our government successfully thwarts the potential assassination of politicians. We must not forget the thwarting of the kidnapping and harming plot of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer by right-wing militias. Unfortunately, Trump's Secret Service seemed to have failed him, even though they had time to act. That's why a lot of people are saying, is this stuff staged? Is this stuff staged? Honestly, I don't think it is. I think this was gross incompetence. 400 yards away on the top of a building with a slight incline, where were the binoculars scanning those areas that could be vulnerable? So yeah, I think that I don't think it was staged. I think that was a gross incompetence. Or either gross incompetence or thinking, well, we are in red territory and these are places where they love us. We are safe. Remember during the January 6th insurrection, remember what happened? Remember that Donald Trump told them, we don't need any magnetometers, right? Because these people with AR-15s in this on the Washington Mall, they are our people. So he didn't think he needed to be protected for people coming into the area with guns or not. All of this that I'm saying is very well documented. Everything that I will speak about is very well documented. No if, buts, no maybes, no gray areas. Even if not most times, too often these purveyors of violence, mainly on the right, are successful. The attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, the attack on Bernie Sanders' office, the shooting of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, and the shooting of Steve Scalise, to mention a few. I am starting to detect the false equivalence call to action. If we consent to it, it will be the kiss of death, not only in this election, but in the future, because we will have exceeded the moral ground that progressives have codified. I want to repeat, if we coalesce and make this stuff look like a false equivalent. It's the one side is talking like this, the other side. That's not what is occurring at all. No false equivalence here. And if you coalesce to it the way the media is trying to low down the temperature, bring down the temperature is only high on one side. It's only one side who believe in arming people. It's only one side who believe having AR-15s and bazookas and all that kind of stuff is okay. It's only one side going out and say, if I lose, there will be a bloodbath. It's only one side that had a January 6th. Let's not fall into a false equivalence crap. Let's continue moving forward on the facts. Let's continue moving forward by telling Americans the unadulterated truth. Let's continue moving forward by letting folks know exactly what it means when Democrats and progressives get elected, how we are going to change your life, how we are going to ensure that you have equal access to success. Let's not allow distractions. We are the ones that support life, freedom in all respects, nonviolence, equity, inclusion, and much more that is anathema to the leadership of the right that is then permeated to its base. Specifically, it is ludicrous for Democrats and progressives to feel or accept any responsibility for a young, registered Republican man using an AR-15 style rifle to attempt to take the life of Donald Trump. We must find causality that is not difficult if we stop trying to play false equivalence and false and balanced game. Blame is not hard to ascertain. The right has established a culture not of compromise, but of my way or the gun way. The preponderance of the evidence is clear. January 6th is clear. Armed militias, it's clear. When was the last time you've seen a whole bunch of lefties running around with guns and AR-15s and bazookas in the street to show that they have Second Amendment rights? And what the hell do you do with these things that you have on your shoulder? The first person that scares you, you shoot them? Well, we know what that looks like. It looks like Austin. While one can find isolated incidents from a few with an affinity for the left, the converse on the right is countless. From the murderer in Austin, Daniel Perry, who gunned down an innocent man in a BLM protest that a corrupt Texas Governor Greg Abbott pardoned, to January 6th, where Trump's MAGA enforcers caused the deaths and injuries of scores of police and officers and others. Of course, there is a constancy of mass killing with assault weapons that most regular guns, because of a right-wing culture of virtually unadulterated access to firearms, guns, or Second Amendment rights. We want to be able to have guns, no checks, no nothing. We want the freedom. Here in Texas, anybody can go get a gun, have it in their car. So what has increased in Texas, unlike in blue states, the murder rate has increased. All these rates have increased. Again, look it up. Red state versus blue state murder rates. All these things are true. Provable, verifiable. Don't listen to my words. Look it up. We should not forget the rhetoric from prominent MAGA and right-wing voices, from former president himself to Steve Bannon and the head of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, among many others. These guys are stoking their base. And these guys are stoking those with weak minds, right? And, there are a lot of Republicans that have abandoned Donald Trump. And when they see Donald Trump coming ahead, what is their response? They don't have the progressive response. After all, again, it seemed like this guy who shot the president, or the former president, they said in 1920 something, he gave $15 to a progressive. Actually, it's one of those false groups that give that collects a lot of money and spend it themselves. But what I'm saying, when you take a look at what their behavior when it comes to solving problems is not sitting down and talking. Hey, when I wrote the book, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Friends and Neighbors, it wasn't about saying how to shoot my friends and neighbors or how to force my friends and neighbors. Anybody who listens to politics done right, anybody who is in our chats knows that we have 30 to 40% conservatives and MAGAs that permeates our being because they know they're heard, because they know it's not about violence, it's about open dialogue and making people speak and understanding. And even if we disagree, understanding that you still have a brother, a mother, a sister, and folks that we want to, that we know you love, we know what it's all about. I felt sick feeling out tomorrow at the conference, the Netroots Nation conference, and this shooting occurred right after right during the plenary, the ending plenary. And I wish, and I wish a shooting hadn't happened at all, but I wish we had information then so that we could have gotten on stage and say some of the things that I'm saying right here. I felt that sick feeling as I listened to the news and watched Democrat after Democrat acquiesce to the need for both sides to tone down the rhetoric. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? When Martha Raddatz, a host generally sympathetic to Republicans, specifically called out Trump, you know this false equivalence has gone too far. This morning on this week, meaning yesterday morning on this week, she said the following. We are just looking back this morning at some of the things that former President Trump has said, Raddatz noted. He warned last March of potential death and destruction if he were charged by the Manhattan District Attorney. Our country is being destroyed as they tell us to be peaceful. Trump in January warned of bedlam in the country if the criminal charges against him succeeded. And of course, in March, he said, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. That it's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That will be least of it. Those are indeed his words. And you have heard it from supporters as well. Heritage Foundation President Roberts was not much different in his rhetoric. He declared himself an insurrectionist open to violence based on the following statements, which was, we are in process of the second American Revolution, he said, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Whoever did this, the shooter has done so much damage to the left, Maher said. But before I say that, Bill Maher also played the false equivalent crap. I don't know what has gotten into Bill Maher these days. It's as if because he has lost so many progressive voters, he's trying to attract a new audience. Whoever did this, the shooter has done so much damage to the left, Maher said. The left has lost a lot moral high ground in that you are the nonviolent people, and the liberals don't shoot people. Liberals don't solve that way. Yeah, you got half right. Progressives don't believe in violence. Progressives don't believe in the unadulterated arming of America with guns. So you're right, and we remain that way. That a young Republican man with an AR-15, that is a full representation of the right. Republican with an AR-15 shot the president. And somehow Bill Maher wants to attach that to somehow a progressive thing. When I talk about false equivalence, in this case, it's a lying equivalence. As I mentioned above, violence on the left in our times has been an aberration, while a constancy for the right. This must be pointed out. Maybe Maher should have waited a bit so he could have found out that the shooter was a registered Republican in a county that voted 2-1 for Trump. I felt compelled to send Bill Maher a tweet, so I sent him the following. Again, Bill Maher proves he was but a faux progressive. He claims that somehow a young Republican man with an AR 15 style rifle attempting to assassinate Trump has caused the left has lost a lot of moral high ground. He is pandering to MAGA for views. You don't lose a higher ground when it's neither your ideology nor the people you represent who is affecting violence, murder, and what's in between. That's not the case. I implore Democrats and progressives not to cave to play nice, lest they get taken to the cleaners. In other words, lose big. It is not our rhetoric that promotes violence. It is not our rhetoric that in the aggregate lacks civility. When the truth describing uncivil, unethical, immoral, treasonous, and other behaviors existential to what this country has become seem to be uncivil, it isn't because they are doing what they're doing reflected. It's because what the people who we're describing are doing something that is uncivil, doing something that is wrong, doing something that is unethical, doing something that is treasonous, doing something that is immoral. And if we call that out, it's not us being uncivil. It is just us being truthful. It is because what they're doing reflect it. We owe the unadulterated truth to the American people. They depend on our policies, and we cannot allow false equivalencies and cowardice to enable Donald Trump, a wannabe autocrat, fascist, and provable chain liar, to go unchecked, lest we cede the 2024 election and fail Americans. End of the blog. Now, I want to point this out, folks, because this is very important. Pointing out that, yes, Donald Trump is a serial liar. That's not uncivil. That is telling the truth in the most kind way possible. That saying Donald Trump is an autocrat is not uncivil. It is saying what he has said himself, that everybody who is going to vote must know, that Donald Trump is a fascist. It is something we know. He's a Mein Kampf reader. He's a person who the items he discussed in the way he wants to impose policy is directly proportional to that which is fascist. None of those statements are uncivil. They are simply the provable truth. And the only way Americans can make a sensible, qualified vote is if we don't leave the truth to happenstance. We must tell the truth, unadulterated truth, no matter what side you are on. The truth must reign. Oh my God, you guys are complaining about my Shell t-shirt. Look, I've done the MS-100 more than 10 times. The MS-150. The MS-150 is a ride for multiple sclerosis, and I've done it over 10 times. And different. I ride on to get a free T-shirt. I ride under, several of the companies who sponsor the MS-150. And again, remember, I am not. Shell does some good things. So does Exxon. They sponsor stuff for the MS. I know they're crooks or whatever. I'm not going to stop taking the capitalist money when the capitalist money is doing some good otherwise. But at the same time, I'll fight them all the way to the bank. Easy on BM, wouldn't condemn him in the same tone. BM. Who's BM again? BM. Forgive me, brown man, blue man. For some reason, sometimes I get a brain freeze. But anyway, hey, Paul Fleming, I need some help from you. You said you found that it's found out that the $15 wasn't donated by Crooks, the guy who shot the president. Can you please give me a link? Michael says Egberto, Shell, and Exxon both knew about global warming. Yeah, no, they knew about it before then. Bill Maher. Oh, that one. Easy on Bill Maher. They wouldn't condemn him in the same tone. I am tired of Bill Maher. Bruce, I don't know about you, right? But if I have a relative who knows me, and that relative dogs me, but I have an acquaintance that dogs me, Who do you think I hold more accountable? That relative that I am close to, because that tells you something about their heart. Somebody that doesn't have an attachment to me, it's easier to not do me well. But if somebody's close to you and they can still harm you, my God, then think about what they would do with a regular friend. So that's all. Hey, but Paul Fleming, send me that information. And I'm lucky here to have my brother from Third Ward, the one and only Ray. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, Egberto. I just had to say my mind this morning, and, based on what I said this morning, I do just want to, go back to that and say there's a saying in our community. When something bad happens, um, keep that same energy. And I just was
Hmm.
doing just that, I was keeping that same energy, trying to basically let people know, like, this man said a lot of vile shit, and he kind of, he brought it on himself. Karma is a bee, I mean, everything above the sun. I don't have no sympathy. Like, just like I said many other times, you want sympathy for Trump? I don't have no sympathy. You find it in the dictionary. What I said last time. But basically, I mean, here we are. Like my man Bernie Sanders said, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Democrats need to strengthen up. And I mean, I agree with what you say. We can't play nicety nice because at the end of the day, the young man was a Republican, registered Republican. I'm so glad he wasn't a minority. So glad he wasn't registered as a Democrat because that's a narrative they don't get to push. And if they try it, it's all going to be a conspiracy. But as far as the facts we know, he was a registered Republican. He wasn't even young and he wasn't even old enough to vote for Trump. But if I could get into his brain for just a minute, if I could get into his brain and play devil's advocate, I just feel like he was a young man. They say he was bullied a lot, and he just saw the top bully, and he wanted to take out the top bully. Now, I also
Oh,
had read in an
wow.
article that now
Wow.
one last thing.
I
I also
didn't
read
think
in an article.
Ray, I just want to say this. That makes a great psychological thing to me. I never thought about that one. But go ahead, continue, please.
Oh, I'm surprised. It's shocking because I feel like like Bertu, you're the greatest political mind I know. So, but that's where my mind went. The top bully is talking too much trash, and I want to shut him up. That's where I would go if I was playing devil's advocate, getting into Crook's
Right,
head. And
right, right.
and I hope that for all these people that have been going to these Trump rallies, where we go from here, I hope they realize this crap is serious, okay?
Yeah.
And I know I love you, Egberto. I love you for choosing my country to come here and make it better. But as a native of this country, I also want to say one thing that scares the crap out of me and one thing that makes me feel the way I feel about Mr. Trump at at the point where I'm willing to extinguish him by any means necessary, like Malcolm X, it's because I don't have another country to go to. This is it. I was born here. I was raised here. And by damn it, these MFs want to make my life terrible for the rest of my time living in the country that I only knew and grew up in for my entire life. And that makes me very upset. It gives me rage. Not enough to go buy a gun. I want to be very explicit about that. Not enough to make me go to violence. But if I have to defend myself, if somebody shows up at my door, if somebody comes to me, I feel like the people on the fans of Trump, the reason I don't have sympathy for those people that got shot, unfortunately, they sit there and they listen to that garbage rhetoric that he spits. They might think he's funny. They might think he's entertaining. But I see him as a legitimate threat. I see him as Hitler. I do. He is
And
the American Hitler, and I don't have no tolerance for anybody who endorses that.
let me tell
I'm
you,
done,
Ray.
Egberto. Thank
Ray,
you.
no, Ray, no, don't leave. I want to say this to you. First of
I'm
all,
still here.
I want that passion for when you are going out there campaigning. I want that urgency. First of all, you said two things that are important. You're not the mad person going out like right wing folks to get a gun. That's not what you want to do. But you want to make sure at the ballot box that you extinguish this guy, that he never gets a chance to run again. And that's what all of us have to do to make sure that all our people come out to vote. If we all come out to vote, they don't stand a chance. That the party is a minority rule party, and it depends on the discipline problem within the Democratic base. You know what, Brother Ray? You can be a part of that solution with the passion that you just showed on this program. And I mean that from the depths of
And I
my
trust
heart.
me. And thank you, Egberto. I appreciate you every day for just giving me space, giving me somebody who at least makes me feel like they care about the stuff I care about. And it's hard for me to connect with other people that don't see the threat and the urgency of MAGA and Project 25 and everything. Like I can't be friends with people that don't. I have lady friends who are very attractive, by the way. I have completely canceled them out of my life. Why? Because they like Trump. That's how dedicated I am to it. I mean, maybe I'm trying to get some of your energy where I can, bring them back. And if they do find out that they effed up supporting that piece of crap, then maybe I give them a place to land. I did do that
Well,
with one person, but it is draining. It is draining,
it is. Look,
Egberto. And I
it
give
is
you
hard.
all the credit for.
It is draining, but it is my passion, and I won't change that. I will engage absolutely everybody, and I'm going to love on everybody. But let me just say one thing, one other important thing, right? And that is every single person that I'm looking at in my in the chat right now, except for a few Democrats that I'm looking at in the chat right now. Project 2025 is going to screw them royally, irrespective of whether they're Republican or Democrat. I have a few rich ones in this chat right now, but I'm going to tell you one thing: that for the others, Project 2025 will screw them royally. From Mike Cisak right back to God, what's wrong with me? Eric Hayes, Project, I can tell you specifically how Project 2025 will screw them. But guess what? I hope they continue to listen to the program because eventually they'll get it. But thank you so kindly for calling in, Ray. I have a 6 minute piece I want to talk about why
One
nobody
last.
needs to think that Donald Trump is the problem. Anyway, I'll talk to you later, brother. Thank you for calling in.
All right, bro. Take care.
All right. Now, I want you guys to listen to this because as soon as the assassination attempt was made on Donald, I was out there packing my stuff up in Baltimore, and I said I got to do this video, and I want you to see the video that I did, and then we'll take it on the other side. I am pretty sure we'll take it on the other side. By now, most have likely heard that the president, it seems, and I'm being careful here, it seems like there may have been an attempt on the president's life. First of all, let's be clear. None of us should be happy. None of us should actually feel good about the attempt on the life of any politicians or, for that matter, on anybody. Anybody who cherishes life, that is not what they should support. Unfortunately, what we're seeing here is where our politics has devolved. We don't know the motives behind the person who shot, but I've been seeing some interesting posts and interesting gigs. People say, "Oh, oh, they missed," or things like that. First of all, I want to point out something for those people uh, who are kind of revere or kind of like, wow, it would have been how life could have been different otherwise. Look, let's be clear here. We should never want to talk about the assassination of any politician, any president, anybody. But secondly, I want us to wise up. Donald Trump is not the problem. Donald Trump has never been the problem. Donald Trump has always been a useful tool whose antics could be used to create that cult that the billionaire class and everyone else is using
to take away the power from the people. For those who believe that absent Trump things would be okay, that's never the case. And I don't know any thinking progressive, any thinking anybody that think the issue with MAGA has much to do about Trump. In fact, a few months ago, I pointed out that MAGA didn't even start with Trump, but Trump was a good performer that enhanced MAGA. The Project 2025 isn't Trump. The Project 2025 are those that are the puppeteers of Trump. And Trump is just the useful idiot that assigned all the judges that the Heritage Foundation wanted to assign. He's going to be the one who dismantle the state. He is the one who is going to do it under the auspices of the billionaires who fund the Heritage Foundation, who fund all these other issues. This attempt at Trump wouldn't surprise me if it came from within. And I don't know. I must say, I don't know, but it would not surprise me if it came from within. It would not surprise me if this was an attempt from one of the Republican insiders. For what reason again? Because they understand something that many of us have been speaking for quite a long time. The polls may be saying something now, but the existential threat that the policies that Trump would institute under the auspices of Project 2025, when people are well aware of the realities, I've been talking about a landslide Democratic win for a long time. Now, I just got a text that said, oh my God, does this mean our goose is kicked because Trump is now going to be a martyr and people are going to believe that, well, that he'll get the sympathy vote? Well, no. Not I think, Americans are much smarter than that. What is essential right now is that we stay calm, we keep our heads on, and we continue to realize that the only option to save our country in 2024 is to vote the Democratic vote from top to bottom. And for anybody who listens to this, who says it is not time to discuss this, there is a continuum between this all. The only reason we are having this type of dissension in the country is because of what has been created by MAGA and the billionaires who run them, as well as neoliberals somewhat leaving the working class abandoned. That is a lethal combination. And the outcomes that we're seeing here is directly responsible for that. Now, I don't know again who was the one responsible for this event, this what seems to be an assassination attempt that we don't know. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. Let's keep our eye on the ball. Let's not let any of this stuff distract us. Let's make sure and be moral. Let's make sure and be safe and make sure that we love on each other. We don't need all of this. What we need is to win and to make sure that MAGA never gets itself into power. And that's what it's going to take.
Let me tell you, Michael, I hear you. I hear you. But what I think that the job that we have to do is we have to make the race not Biden. It's hard to do. It's going to be rough. You're absolutely right. But I want you to listen to I want you to listen to the fear. I don't want to call it fear, but it is it's not fear isn't the word. The exasperation that Ray had of not wanting to go back, of not wanting to have things from a point of view where things are, what's the word that I want to use? Where his life is going to be made that much more difficult because we're doing just that, going backwards. A lot of people don't believe that is in the cards. A lot of people just believe it's going to be okay, nothing's going to change for them, so why even vote? because nothing ever changes. We normally get a centrist Republican or a centrist Democrat, and things around the edge changes. But the thing about it is, under Biden, who is a very poor marketer, his whole team is a poor marketer. We actually killed poverty until it was blocked by two turncoat Democrats and all Republicans. We actually showed that government matters, and that put the fear into these people. We got to get with the program. We've got to get with the program. We have got to get with the program. My other video is about 8 minutes long, which means I can't play it. But go to it's going to be in the vlog post, but I can't play it. So if anybody wants to give me a call, we have about 3 minutes to burn. And if we don't get a call, I'm going to shut the baby down early. But I would love to get another call from my peeps that are listening. I'd love to hear your voices. So anybody wants to, thank you for being here, Michael Rudnin. Anybody wants to call in now, the number is 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Anybody wants to call in? Give me a call now. I'm going to wait 30 seconds. If nobody calls in, I'm going to do my ask. And then we are going to be out of here. But I would love to hear from you. All right, let's go do my ask. Folks, I need your support. Politics Done Right needs your support to keep this thing going. So I would like to ask you so kindly. Today I'm going to just do one ask. Please become a paid subscriber of Politics Done Right. And how do you do that? Just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, to our newsletter, that is. You can support our newsletter by just going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You know that I work very hard to make sure this stuff goes through. Even as I flew into Baltimore on Wednesday, I made sure to have a program on Wednesday directly from the Netroots Nation floor on Thursday and Friday. We had good internet this time around, so I was able to do it without a problem. This is what we have to do to win elections. This is how we are going to win elections. We need everybody engaged, and we also need your support. The other side have a lot of support. You hit the nail on the head, Berto. Absolutely, my brother. The other side has a lot of support. We're asking for nickel and dime type support compared to what they have. But we have a better personal relationship with people. And personal relationships with people beat money every single time. So please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter and become a paid subscriber. It's a coffee a month, a paid subscriber of our program. You'll feel good about it because you'd have agency in the movement. Again, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Let's have agency. Got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.